Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we are looking at the fifth brother and seventh sister for Star Wars Legion. It's the Inquisitors, and they are coming very soon. We recently got a fantastic look at this expansion pack at Ministraagana, though we did know it was coming all the way back to last Adepticon. Now we have a greater depth of knowledge as to what comes in here, so we're going to do a deep dive into this expansion today and talk about why I think they're going to be very important, very popular, and very strong in the Imperial lists that will include them, and possibly seeing a lot of tournament play. I think they're going to be very strong. So let's talk about the Inquisitors in today's video. We do have a little bit of admin stuff to talk about, though. We have a big $100 Amazon gift card giveaway that's going on right now. If you want to have a chance to enter to win that, you just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. That is running through Halloween, so you have plenty of time left to enter to win that. Pretty cool stuff. Plus, check the links in the video description below. You can jump into our Discord and check out social media links if you want to check any of those links that are down in there. Plus, if you're interested in Patreon and supporting the channel and get your name in the credits or things like that, there are links for all of that in the video description below. Also, I want to thank today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. Folks, you see me use them in my battle reports. These are amazing full metal tokens. They're double-sided, they're shiny, they're gorgeous. Like the damage tokens have 2s on the back, so do the suppression tokens. You just have to flip them over. Really cool stuff. They're all double-sided like that. You know, you got your aims and standbys on the other side. Really, really beautiful tokens. Plus the order tokens. Those are absolutely spectacular. You're going to love these tokens. I promise you that. Head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Check them out. While you're there, use code Crabbok VIP. That'll save you 15%. Great time to get some maybe early holiday gifts in, or birthday gifts, or a gift for yourself. Also great prize support. So let your stores know, too, about that code. Orders that use that code that spend $35 or more are going to get a free Crabbok token. It's got the lightsaber nunchucks on there. Fantastic token as well. So you won't want to miss that while supplies last. So head over to luxuryplaystyle.com. Don't forget that code. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into these units. Now, I did some work with the graphics because we had kind of like a layout spread, so I've kind of straightened out the cards and zoomed in a little bit so we can have a kind of a closer look at each individual card that was spoiled during Ministraagana. Let's start with the fifth brother. He's 105 point. He's an operative. He's got Surge to Hit, which is really nice for Jedi. He's no Jedi, but it's really nice. He's got the red defense, which you would expect. He is immune to pierce, which you typically expect. But he has some things that you don't expect amongst Force users and typical Saber users. For one, he doesn't have Master of the Force, which kind of makes sense. You know, he's no master. He's more like a trainee who's only been shown a certain amount. Now, he does have block instead of deflect. So he's not going to be sending anything back, but, you know, he gets to, if he spends the dodge token. Now, the cool thing about block is that this is going to work in melee combat. So deflect is like, you know, they changed deflect a while back to only work in ranged, and so you couldn't do that in melee. And now with block, it's just while defending. So from, you know, minus the chance to deflect damage back, block is arguably a little bit better than deflect is right now. So I think that's pretty cool. He does have immune to pierce, which, again, we talked about already. But he has a couple other things. He's got Enrage 2, which is a really cool ability with 6 health. Enrage 2 means once he takes 2 wounds, he goes fearless. So that courage value of 2 becomes a nil, which means he can't have suppression tokens at all anymore. And it also gives him charge. Charge is going to be really nice on him. He doesn't have like a relentless or a charge or steady or anything like that already. So that's charge is going to be very good for him, and Dauntless is also going to be really nice. It's only going to work for for the first 2 wounds. Probably won't have to deal with Dauntless very often because, well, once he hits that second wound, he's now going to go fearless. And of course, you could heal him back up, but do you really want to heal him above 4? I don't know. I kind of like him enraged. He comes with 2 training upgrades and a single force upgrade. Now, with no Master of the Force, you'll have to think about what kind of force upgrade you want to put on him. You know, if you go with something like Force Push, something like that can only be used so many times, because you probably don't want to have to spend his time, recovering. But there are command cards that will address that, so you can kind of go either way with the Force upgrades. He's got the pretty decent lightsaber, and he also has a thrown weapon as well, so you have a range 2 attacks. You don't have to worry about, saber throw or anything like that. He's got the thrown spinning lightsaber, impact 2, pierce 1, which is pretty good. You expect a little bit of pierce, arguably not as strong as some of the other lightsabers, but since this is 3 dice, that's sort of the equivalent of having a 6 dice saber with force throw. So that's kind of decent. More, or I guess a 5 dice saber with force throw. It's kind of like you got force throw kind of thrown in for free. But if you can melee with him, which you usually will probably want to do, he's got Ram 2, which is going to give you 2 dice set to crits if you did a full move, right? So really cool. Impact 2 and Pierce 1. So really strong melee attack. That Ram 2 on there, I mean, look, a lot of people grew to fear Ram during the rebels with their tauntauns, and I'm like, wow, Ram 2 on this guy, which is just super cool and thematic. I can just vision him kind of ramming through like a tauntaun or like a beast, just putting that animal rampage to work. And once he's got charge, if you do 2 moves, I mean, he looks extremely deadly, and he doesn't have a defensive surge. And he only has the 1 force slot. So are you gonna take force reflexes on him? I don't know if you take force reflexes on him. Do you run somebody else who can hand out dodge tokens, like a commander or an imperial officer that can hand out dodge tokens? I don't know. But 6 health, still not bad with red defense dice. For 105 points, with nothing else, before you put any upgrades on him, he seems like he's extremely strong. Now, if we jump towards his companion, his sister-in-arms, the 7th sister, we're going to see a lot of similarities, but a couple of differences. Weaponry, very similar. She doesn't have Ram. She's a little bit more finesse-oriented, a little bit less brute force-oriented. 110 points. She's a little bit more. She does have jump 1. Notice the lack of jump on the 5th brother. That's an important distinction. Most Force users tend to have jump. He's like, no. I've got Dauntless, so I can. It's like a different kind of movement ability. So, she also has something called Associate 5th Brother. This is the way that you can run both of them together using only 1 operative rank. He didn't have to have it. Also, just one of them had to have it. So they put it on her card. She also has block. She has charge natively, which is really cool. So she can still just run in there at full health and start doing the charging. She's got disciplined 1, which is going to help. She's a 3 courage as well. The cool thing about this is they both make excellent options to be nominated as a commander if your commander dies. 5th brother makes a great option if he's at 4 health or lower, because now all of a sudden he's fearless, and now your whole army has that much better courage bubble for panic purposes. But she's naturally courage 3, so she can just stay safe and unwounded, and have a 3 courage bubble, which is really cool as well. But it's just good for her as a whole. She's going to want to get in there close. They both really are focused on being close ranged, even though they have respectable ranged attacks. Impact 2, Pierce 1, range 2, lightsaber throw. That's decent, especially when you've got Search to Hit on there already. But no defense die. She got block, all right, or no search for defense. All right, there's red defense die, which is good. But she's got something else in addition to her disciplined and immune to pierce and all that good stuff. She's got interrogate, and this is something that really makes her shine. While a unit is at range 1 of an enemy, or while she is at range 1 of an enemy unit, treat that enemy unit's command cards as having 1 more pip. So all of a sudden, Han might not shoot first anymore because his 0 pip is now going to be a 1 pip. It means all of your ties are it's nasty. Like, you're going to win all the actual ties now because they're going to have 1 more pip. If your opponent has cunning, it doesn't matter because they're now, their command cards have 1 more pip. So a 3 pip that your opponent plays is now a 4 pip, right? Your opponent's 1 pips are now 2 pips, and that's crippling. Especially when you move them in and you're planning on playing a 1 pip, you're going to win that, again, unless maybe it's Han Solo and then you have a chance. But that's a devastating ability when it comes down to it for the timing. So nasty, nasty, nasty. Moving forward. Both Inquisitors have a new upgrade that they can take. The Inquisitorious Training. This one is insane, and both of them want to be in close. Seventh Sister has a lot of negative, control type effects when she's in close, while Fifth Brother has RAM. So he wants to be in close. He's just going to kill you. Granted, Seventh Sister can kill you too, but this is going to really help them be Jedi hunters. So Inquisitorious Training, it's only a 5-point training upgrade, so they each have 2 training upgrades, don't they? I mean, that's 2 training upgrades each. They can easily afford to take this. Obviously, it won't do anything if you're not, if you're facing a list that doesn't have other Force users. I mean, it still gives them Demoralize 1, which is okay. That's okay. Neither one of them have it natively, but there is some Demoralize on command cards, right? So that's nice. But the real big thing here is that when a unit at range 1 exhausts a Force upgrade, you may roll a red defense die, and on any ink, a hit or rather a block or a surge, you cancel the effect. So it's a 4 out of 6 chance of just shutting down your opponent's Force push. 4 out of 6 chance of shutting down their Force reflexes or Force barrier or things like that. Now, this only affects those Force upgrades that exhaust. So something like Saber Throw, it doesn't exhaust, so it's not going to stop that. But that's a nasty one. And I think the biggest thing that this is going to shut down, the biggest crippling factor is Force push. Somebody, like if they engage, another Jedi and that Jedi wants to push them away and go grab an objective or whatever, they're going to just be like, no, you're going to stay right here. And it still exhausts the card, so it's not like they can try again. So a very nasty card for only 5 points. Really can be potentially crippling against certain upgrades. I would have said Force Choke once upon a time, but I don't really think Force Choke is a viable card anymore. So really Force Push is the one that this one shuts down, and it shuts it down very well. We also have some command cards to look at. Now, they come with 5 total command cards. There's 3 that are for the Seventh Sister, and there's 2 that are for the Fifth Brother, but a lot of them sort of overlap and work towards each other. For example, let's start with the Seventh Sister. She's got a 1-pip called Come and Prove It. It is a Seventh Sister specific card. So even though it issues orders to both the Fifth Brother and the Seventh Sister, it is still just a Seventh Sister card. So if you're running Fifth Brother by himself, you wouldn't be able to actually play this card. But it's a good card. Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister gain Indomitable and roll 1 extra die when defending. Obviously, this is just for this round. That is very, very cool. Indomitable is just going to help get rid of all that suppression much easier, and an extra die when defending is huge. So this is definitely a good card to roll, especially if you're running them both in, and you've got Seventh Sister kind of right next to that enemy, Obi-Wan Kenobi or Darth Vader or something like that, and you're able to be like, no, we're going to go first, and because I'm going to make sure your 1-pip is a 2-pip, so we're definitely going first. And also, if she is declared as a target of an attack while she has a face-up order token, she gains a dodge token. So, I think ideally this is something that you're like, oh, Seventh Sister, she needs to face up. So, hey, Fifth Brother, you go first. You'll have your choice because first, also you're issuing out 2 order tokens too, which just gives you better battlefield control. Hey, all my operatives now have face ups, so especially if you're running a lot of core and other stuff like that, it gives you good battlefield control this way. But yeah, a very good defensive card. It's strange to see 1-pips are usually a little more offensive. This one's more defensive because their offense comes naturally. So they just, I think one of the biggest weaknesses, at least that's the AMG has said that they kind of expect, is that these guys will get killed potentially before they can do as much damage as you're afraid of. I don't know if that's really true, especially with cards like this. And this kind of addresses that weakness of theirs with the somewhat lower hit points and the possible lack of defensive surge. But yeah, I mean, they have blocks, so I think they're still gonna be in there, especially with a card like this, giving her a dodge token to make block, more guaranteed. Very cool. For her 2-pip, it's gonna be Unexpected but not unwelcome. This one also issues an order to Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister. However, it is a Seventh Sister specific command card. It says when a unit issued an order by this card recovers, or sorry, when a unit is issued an order by the card, it recovers. Again, we talked about, hey, you still can take something like Force Push on your Inquisitors, because even though you probably won't want to recover normally, here's a way to get you a free recover. So this is a very good thing for that. So ideally, this is good for those upgrades, but also if you just get overwhelmed with suppression, also a good thing. When Seventh Sister is attacking a commander or operative unit with a face-down order token, during the roll attack dice step, she may gain up to 2 suppression tokens. She gains an aim token for each suppression token gained this way. This really helps her try to finish off an enemy leader or operative. But it does 2 different things, right? It also lets both her and Fifth Brother recover, which is pretty cool. Got to be issued or ordered by the card, though. So if you got HQ uplink or something else elsewhere, it's not going to matter. So this is one that you can run if you're just running her, but it's better to run them both together. You know, both of these cards have kind of done that so far. For a 3 pip, she's got You Hide Your Fear Well. Seventh Sister and 2 units. This one is a little easier to run if you're just running her by herself. She gains Demoralize 1. So, and if you're running the Inquisitorious training, they will stack because they're numeric values. So that would give her, if you're running Inquisitorious training, she'll have Demoralize 1 already. So this would make that Demoralize 2. While enemy units at range 1 of the Seventh Sister are suppressed, which will be much easier with all the demoralization that you're doing, they roll 1 fewer die when spending aim tokens. So this is an interesting one because this is almost like her taunting everybody else near her and like, well, oh, were you going to try and shoot my stormtroopers that are picking up the objective? No. Actually, I'm right next to you, so I'm already doing all the nasty stuff by suppressing you and all that other stuff. But just in case you had an aim, it's going to work a little bit more weakly or less effective. Probably a better way to say it. More weaker, more badder, less gooder. So that one's interesting. I think the demoralization is probably, going to be enough to stop a lot of people from aiming and shooting, but just in case they happen to roll a fantastic recovery, then you can taunt them into attacking you instead of whoever else they wanted to attack. Looking at Fifth Brother's cards, he only has the 2 and 3 pip. He does not have his own 1 pip, but considering that he's getting some benefits from Seventh Sister, it kind of works out. Now he's got a 2 pip called You Would Question Me. It's going to activate both him and Seventh Sister, and this one is a permanent effect, which is cool. So permanently, when the Fifth Brother gains an aim token, Seventh Sister gains a dodge token. When Fifth Brother gains a dodge token, Seventh Sister gains an aim token. So they're kind of helping each other out. When either unit gains an aim or dodge token, the other unit may gain an immobilized token, and if they do, the first unit gains an extra token of the same type. So kind of like a teamwork, but not necessarily, because Fifth Brother has to gain the token for Seventh Sister to get it. So it's kind of a selfish teamwork. Plus, he reserves the right to sort of immobilize Seventh Sister so he can gain 2 tokens. I mean, that can work both ways. She could do it the other way around as well. But it all kind of stacks together because he could say, Seventh Sister, stay where you are. I'm going to take an aim token twice. And then she's going to get 2 dodge tokens. So if you have her in position early enough, then but then again, this is a good early card because it's going to be permanent. So you get her into position, and all of a sudden she's like, oh, okay, I'm going to gain that. She plays a card to gain a dodge token, but you want him to be able to, you really want somebody else to be able to feed him tokens to do this. And I feel like this is going to work well. They will both work well with cheaper commanders. Somebody like Veers, who can hand out an aim token, and then she gets a free dodge token, and then he can be like, hey, guess what? You're gonna get rooted, and then he'll gain an extra one, and then she'll do that, which is really cool one. So I like it. She can get immobilized a little bit if she's already in position, and give him the aims, and then he's kind of got to be in position too. But it's cool. It's a little weird, but it's cool, and it's permanent, so you have that luxury the rest of the game. He's also got a 3 pip, says, I care not for your struggles. It's going to be Fifth Brother and 2 troopers. This one's really cool. It says Fifth Brother may issue orders at range 1 through 5, and units issued an order by this card gain Dauntless this round. Now, Dauntless is a great ability, especially when you're pushing suppression. You're just now going to be able to be like, no. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to take a suppression and move instead of losing an action. You got to make sure they're not panicked, though. So this works well if you've got a high courage commander. There are cheaper high courage commanders that are going to work well with these guys. Veers has the great support, but not necessarily the high courage. There are other folks like Moff Gideon or Iden Versio that can definitely do that. I feel like Palpatine also, even though he's crazy expensive, kind of works really well with Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister. I think there's a ton of different options. If you're going to take them both, it's tricky because one of the things you kind of want to do is like, well, if I'm taking them both, I have room for another operative. I don't feel like Darth Vader is the way to go here, though, because Darth Vader typically wants to have all of his own command cards. So I feel like maybe IG-11 is a really good option to run with them. For commander options, one of the cheaper commanders certainly works. I feel like Krennic could be fun in this one too, because he's got Compel, which kind of works. It maybe overwrites a little bit of what Krennic's doing, but with his cunning combined with Seventh Sisters, making them have one more, now all of a sudden Krennic's 2-pip will beat somebody else's 1-pip, right? Like that's crazy. So if you want to just like win all of the fights, I think Krennic could definitely do it. But also just a generic Imperial officer if you're trying to like squeeze out points. One of the other things I think is really cool about Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister is that you're getting kind of cheap, very effective characters, and it's one of the things that I think has been a strength that the Rebel faction has had, is that they've had, like, the Empire's super strong characters are certainly super strong, but they're also like 200 points each, and Rebels can get strong characters that are around 100 points, and so they can have high activation lists with a couple of all-stars instead of just like maybe one strong character. They can have multiple strong characters and still have high activation lists, and I feel like this is a step towards being able to do that. So if you go with like a cheaper commander, these two, and then IG-11, you'll have like 4 powerful-ish mid to high, medium high level characters. And then it's only, it leaves you a lot of points to fill out with stormtroopers and things like that. So I think it's a way for you to have a decent activation count and lots of strong characters. And since these are so melee focused, I feel like you probably want to go with like IG-11 also, or an Iden Versio, or somebody who's kind of powerful but ranged. And I think that kind of works. I don't really want to go like with Darth Vader with them, even though that would be really cool. I just feel like that, it would be, I wouldn't have enough points left to really make the rest of the list work. I'd be too locked into melee and too vulnerable to everything else. Although I will say maybe Palpatine works because like their command cards, you kind of, if you wanted to run all their command cards, you've got 2 3s, 2 2s, and only 1 1. Leaves you an opening for a 1-pip. You got that awesome 1-pip by Palpatine. I feel like it works. I feel like it's a natural fit. Granted, you kind of miss out on Palpatine's 2-pip, which, then maybe you just drop one of these for the 2-pip. You could also run Callus that way, so you can have some extra flexibility in command cards. There's a lot of different things that you can do with these. So I feel like they have 2 or 3 solid kind of list archetypes right now, what they can work with. And also maybe just run them with Operative Vader and Palpatine as an officer, and just have all the dark side users together. If that even works, I don't know if you can run Palpatine, Operative Vader, both Inquisitors, and still have points enough for 3 Stormtroopers. But they certainly wouldn't be upgraded very well. So I think you want a kind of a balanced list, and these are going to be 2 strong melee characters that at least do have a built-in ranged attack. But if the rest of your list is ranged oriented, which Imperial armies have a lot of good ranged options, this could be a great way to kind of split up and have that Darth Vader level points drop, but split among 2 different characters that won't just get pinned down because you have 2 of them, so you can divide and conquer a little bit. So that's a kind of a cool way to run these 2. All right, that's been a quick look at the Fifth Brother and Seventh Sister. These are coming out fairly soon for Star Wars Legion, so keep your eyes peeled and your pre-orders up, or however you do it, and be on the lookout for unboxings and all that good stuff. I will talk to you guys later. A big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world and help make this channel possible. Thank you for your continued support. I will talk to you guys later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes, and always wash your socks.